Well, fresh off our 20-0 record and our big victory last night in the Wounded Warrior football game, our quarterback Kenny Mayne joins us. And as the world's most famous former garbage man, how would you assess your career from the point where you started to the point where you are now?
I'm still trying to do more stuff, new stuff. So I always tell, like when my kids were little, and there's always that thing, did you make the travel squad or did you make the special choir or whatever? Like, don't peak at 10, okay? Don't peak at 12. So I'm much older than that, and I feel more comfortable in what I do now and want to keep doing more things. And I need to because I got 2 kids going to, well, plus Gretchen. We got 4 college kids coming up here, so I'll be working a while longer.
And people think I'm joking. You quit your job in TV to become a garbage man, and then you got back into TV. How did that happen?
Well, I wasn't, like, going straight to garbage. That wasn't my goal necessarily, but back in college, I was a garbage man during the summers. Got a TV job in Seattle. Long story short, I quit that job. I called the garbage guy up and said, hey, I just quit my job. I need some money to kind of get through the next number of months till I figure out what I'm doing. He said, well, we don't do 2-man crews anymore. It's 1-man garbage crews because they got the forklift thing. The only thing they had for me was to make garbage cans. So for like 3 or 4 months, I made garbage cans in Seattle. That was my job. Nothing against anybody doing it. You know, some people are better at it than I was. Then I ran out of garbage cans, so then I looked in the paper and found a marketing company. It turned out it was telemarketing. They left out the tele, so I was selling prepaid legal insurance. Now, all this time, I'm still wanting to get to ESPN, and out of nowhere, they called during that. So I went back for another interview, still didn't get hired, but eventually ESPN took me on. They ran out of other candidates or something.
I'm going to give you some sort of deep philosophical question here. If you could talk to the Kenny Mayne that started back in the day on ESPN2 to the Kenny Mayne now, what kind of advice would you think you'd give yourself for that kid back then?
I don't know that I do it a lot different. I was just telling somebody else, like, the message I always impart is, like, don't give up on yourself. Like with football, in 9th grade, I played 5th quarter. I was like the guys that stayed late, and 5 years later, I was playing Division 1A. So, like, what I wanted to do in the worst way was play football and go to college and have that be part of my life. For television, I had this goal of ESPN. A lot of people thought I was out of my mind. Like, dude, you make garbage cans. Like, you're not going to be working it. But I kept pressing it and kept bugging. I'd find the right person to call. The one guy wouldn't answer my calls. I'd call the other guy. So I just kept looking for different ways to get in the door. Eventually, what really happened was Keith Olbermann left ESPN2. Remember the Sports Night Show, the leather jacket? Yeah. He went over to Dan again on one. Stewart moved up to be the main anchor, and they needed one more person. There I was. Then Keith quit again, quit, and they needed somebody to be with Dan, and there I was again.
Keith's had more chances than Steve Howe, I think, as far as coming back to ESPN, right?
He's still pretty good. Yeah, he's on about his 9th run. I don't understand it, but he's fun to work with, and he's very talented, great writer. So more talent, the better. Why not?
Former UNLV quarterback, teammate of Randall Cunningham. But, Kenny, now you have gotten in a position where now you can give back. And you've got a great charity, and it's really blown up and a lot of support from big-name athletes all over the country. Tell everybody about what you got going.
Yeah, our opening event was we had Jamal Crawford, Gary Payton, Steve Largent, Jerry Rice, and Lenny Wilkins. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough to sell out a high school gym because not enough people knew about it. But every one of us said, dude, we got it out of the gate. The people who are here know about it, and more people are going to hear about it, and we keep spreading the word. So the whole story is I broke my leg at UNLV back in 1980 at Oregon. Last play of a game, somebody stuck their helmet on my ankle. So all these years later now, I got kind of a ruined right ankle. There's no more medicine for it. But I found a guy who makes this amazing device, and he's in Gig Harbor, Washington, now a little bit south of Seattle, south of Tacoma. And I bought one. And the moment I put it on, like, my life changed like that. Like, I cried for about 2 hours because I couldn't believe how different my leg felt. Got on the treadmill right away. I'm running 10, 15 miles an hour. So Gretchen, my wife, and I immediately decided we should do something good with this. The reason why they made the brace in the first place was for veterans who needed that kind of assistance. So we started a foundation. It's called runfreely.org. And we're raising money, and we're just doing one at a time. Every time we raise another amount that can buy a new brace, we find a veteran. I get emails. People hear about us. We kind of like review the candidates, like who deserves it the most right now based on physical and financial need. And we just hope to keep growing. But in a short amount of time, we've really only been going since August. What are we up to? Late January. We've done 6 veterans. We're up to number 6 right now. So that's a pretty good accomplishment for the first year.
And it's runfreely.org. You can see it right down here.
Oh, it's right there. Run, R-U-N, freely, F-R-E-E-L-Y.org. And it tells the little story that I just recapped. Shows the play where I'm lying on the field at Oregon, just to take you back to it. But yeah, I mean, it's really cool the support we got. Steve Kerr, another guy that has helped us out. And almost everybody I talk to, when they hear it, like, dude, that's so easy. Like, why wouldn't I want to give? And the end result is so beneficial. The last person, the one that kind of got to our heart the most, she was in a wheelchair, showed up in Seattle off the plane in a wheelchair. She left walking out on her brace. And that's in 1 week. So who knows what's next for her. And her letter of thanks afterward was beautiful. Like, the sincerity and just how humble they all are. Like, kind of over thanking us, like you already served us, and it's not the cliche of what does Jacob Schick call it, pet a soldier. It's not that. It's like very real. They did a service for us. These people did a service for me personally. Like, I'm asking other people kind of like to help pay my debt. So, but it's a good thing. I know there's a lot of other competing charities helping veterans, and they're all doing good things too. But here's one more that hopefully people take a look at.
We were co-workers for 20 years. We've been friends for 2 weeks. No, we've been teammates forever. What is it that you enjoy getting out here when we do play these Wounded Warrior football games?
I think you almost have to experience it to really get it, and whether that's as a fan watching or on the field playing, there's just this really cool camaraderie that it just happens. It's just kind of magic. The ex-NFL players show the right respect for the veterans. The veterans are like, oh man, I'm playing against Jerry Rice today, or who is ever on the field. And the fans see that the players with these injuries aren't limited at all. Like, so what? My best receiver has one arm. The fastest guy in the field has no legs. You play with no legs on your hands. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And again, it's not patronizing the players. It's more like, dude, of course you can still be a viable member of the community and do other things. And this is just a night to show that we're doing an athletic thing that maybe they used to get to do in high school or whatever. And for one night, we get to go have fun and do something regular.
Last question. Your favorite moment, I'm putting you on the spot right this second. Your favorite moment sitting in that chair in Sports Center when you were on air, something that you were just like, this is it.
Does it have to be sitting in a chair, or can it be wider?
Yes. Where you are.
I'd say working with Stevie Wonder by far. I got him to say I can't be at the All-Star game. I have a high ankle sprain. I talked him into saying that. The funnier part about that was it was at a concert in Philadelphia outdoors, and I had nothing to get close to him. Like, I had a flimsy, not even this, it was not even plastic. It was paper. I was sitting in a tent 8 blocks away. It's like I'm never going to get to him. I kept on upgrading as the day went on. Next thing you know, I'm backstage talking to Sarah McLachlan, and Stevie's doing the little breath thing before he goes on. So his guy says, you get to talk to him, you talk him into it, he'll do it. So they were like waving people into his trailer to meet him. So like Will Smith goes in and Natalie Portman gets called in. And the guy's like pointing, I think, at me. I was like, how do they know who I am? So I took like half a step, and Don Cheadle walks by me, goes in. So I still haven't met him at this point. But then he comes out. I get my 5 minutes with him. He thought it was funny. He did it. Asked him when the album's coming out. He said, soon. Turned around and walked off. It was a good moment.
All right. Kenny Mayne, always a pleasure to see you. We always connect at these things. Thank you for your giving back. Thank you for everything you do on the air, and hope you continue it for as long as you want to.
Runfreely.org.
All right. It's here. I'm going to put it right
there.
Again, so right here.